Are you moving to the Fort Stewart, Hinesville, Georgia area? Before you get here, you want to know roughly what the cost of living would look like? Well, in this video, that's exactly what I'm going to give you. Let's go. Hey, how you doing? My name is Otho Hampton, and I'm a local agent here in the Hinesville, Fort Stewart area. In this video, I'm going to be covering the cost of living here in Hinesville, Georgia. I just want to let you guys know that this is not my information that I'm putting out there, so I don't want to get anybody to think that I'm doing anything illegal as far as steering or anything of that nature. This is basically public information that you can pull up online yourself. The two sites that I'm using are bestplaces.com and niche.com to get my information, and you can look those up for yourself as well at a later time if you choose to do so. All right, with that being said, if this is your first time to the channel, thank you for coming by. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, and hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified, when I drop a new video. In this video, I'm going to be covering a few things. One, I'll be talking about the overall average of Hinesville when it comes to being compared to the national average. We want to talk about things like groceries, transportation, housing, the median home cost. Utilities is a big thing when it comes to the cost of living here in Hinesville, Georgia. South Georgia heat, I talked about that in a previous video. If you haven't seen that one, it's right here or over here, one of the two. You might want to go check that out. But those are some of the factors that factor in someone's decision or someone's awareness of a new area. All right, so to start this out, let's go ahead and give you a little quick background of what Hinesville is, basically. Hinesville is more of a sparsely suburban town, if you want to call it that at all. I like to just go ahead and, call a duck and say it's country. Trying to say suburban or anything of that nature, that's kind of a far-fetched scenario. Although it is building up a little bit with the different establishments coming around, and also the numerous subdivisions that are being built, the new construction builds and whatnot being built up in the area. The population here in Hinesville is roughly around 33,000, give or take. The major driver here, of course, is the military. Fort Stewart, they make up a majority of the people here, or considered here in Hinesville, because it's a military town. All right. Another thing that I want to say is that the cost of living averages that I'm going to present to you is based off the national average of 100 as sort of the baseline. Anything above that would be considered expensive. Of course, anything below that falls in line with being a good situation as far as the least expensive. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about the overall score. As you can see, the overall score for Hinesville compared to what the national average is 81.5. You see the state of Georgia as a whole is 93.4. Now, that's kind of a good thing in a sense, but with that being said, you understand that because we're so far off of the national average, you would think that let me see how I would say this. You would think that the standard of living is somewhat subpar, and that's definitely not the case, because Hinesville has some of the more upstanding neighborhoods in the area, with also like I said, new subdivisions being built constantly, or consistently, should I say. That kind of falls in line with the median home value, or whatever the case may be. The median home value for this area, as far as real estate, is roughly about $124,000, give or take a few dollars. But that falls would fall under the housing portion. I'm gonna go ahead and hold off on that, and I'll get to that part in a little bit. But groceries. When it comes to the grocery situation, I think everyone's area has been affected by, well, I don't think, I know everyone has been affected, everyone's area has been affected by the pandemic. Prices, soaring, sky high and whatnot. A gallon of milk almost going for more than a gallon of gas, which seems kind of crazy, but given the situation, that's just what it is. The national average, based off 100, like I said, based off 100, for Georgia is 95.5, and Hinesville falls in line at actually about 95.6, which is above, the statewide average. That is somewhat pretty expensive, with the milk being more, like I said, more than the price of a gallon of gas. But that's expected, given the times. Families have persevered, for the most part, to ensure that they stay in line and provide, are able to basically put food on the table. Walmart is one of our main stores around here. Well, that is the main store really to get your groceries here in Hinesville, unless you go to Savannah, where they have a couple different situations as far as groceries, Publix, Target, things of that nature, where you can kind of shop around to get your groceries situation taken care of. With that being said, Hinesville does fall above the national average. Next, we have health coverage. By the chart, you can see that the national average would be 95.5 in that category as well. Hinesville falls short of that at 93.9. This rate was calculated by using the daily rate for the hospital rooms and the cost of the doctor's office visits and stuff like that. Given the population of, like I said, around 33,000, that kind of falls in line with health insurance and stuff like that being a little bit cheaper in the area. All right, next we have housing. The median household income here in Hinesville is just short of about $50,000, with the national average being about $63,000, give or take a few dollars. If you take a look at this graphic right here, the average rent per bedroom size, well, the average rent by bedroom size goes like this. For a studio apartment in Hinesville is roughly about $680. If you take a look at Georgia as a whole, it goes for about $790. And on a national level, a studio apartment can go for about $821. Now, if you shift on to a 1-bedroom and you see 2-bedroom and 3 bedrooms or whatever, there's really not that much difference as far as the studio and a 1-bedroom. If you slide down to here, when you look at what most families or most people prefer when they're looking at homes or thinking about buying or renting a home, the rent for a 3-bedroom here in Hinesville roughly starts out at about $1,230. National average $1,256. Hines, Georgia as a whole, about $1,254, as you can see. Now, a 4-bedroom goes for about $1,520 up to $1,558 on a national scale. It's about $1,800. Now, to put this in perspective for actually Hinesville, home prices right now are kind of based off still a seller's market. And with that being said, rent goes off of that as well. Are some of the homes possibly overpriced? Yes. Are some of the rent, does that cause the rent to possibly be inflated? Yes. You can have a 4 or 5-bedroom home, even a 3-bedroom home, go for as much as $1,800, $1,900, given what area it is in. Home prices, I said about being inflated. It's a seller's market. You can't really do anything about that. There are homes available. In the buyer's market, you can look at a situation where you can go in under budget or whatnot, and go into some type of negotiation sequence. Right now, that's not necessarily the case, and homes are priced high. That's just something that can't necessarily be changed or fixed right now. As far as rents, the rental market right now is kind of crazy. One, given the prices for what used to be normally priced homes or apartments, those are definitely inflated. But you have to cover a mortgage, and sometimes owners want to make some type of monetary gain or monetary profit in the long run. Plus, covering all the fees and whatnot that they're going through, if they're renting through a brokerage. But don't let that discourage you. You can find a situation that suits you with the housing market here in Hinesville. If not here, we also have surrounding areas that we can look in, and possibly you possibly may want to move into one of those as well. There's a few surrounding areas. If you take a look at this map, and I'll go into the different areas probably in some different videos or whatnot. As you can see, you do have options. It's just a matter of your commute and how far you would like to drive or whatnot to reach your destination, whether that be Fort Stewart or Hunter Army Airfield if you're in the military. Hunter Army Airfield being Savannah. If you've reached this point in the video, obviously you're liking what you're hearing so far, and I'm providing some type of value to better help your situation. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit the notification bell, and make sure you don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Another part of the housing aspect would be the median home cost. The national average for median home cost is about $232,000. Here in Hinesville, that drops drastically, with the median cost being about $137-ish, which is pretty good. You can find a home around that range but to honestly want to compete and put yourself in the running of what some would consider a really nicely built home, a newer home. You're going to spend anywhere from about, I want to say, $190 to about roughly, I say about $220. That's kind of what that sets out to be, price-wise, for a nicer, newer home or whatnot. Utilities. The utilities, they vary. The national average for that is, of course, based off of 100. Georgia as a whole falls in at 103.2, which is, that is pretty high. Well, that is high actually, because South Georgia, just Georgia period, being on the southern coast or whatever, depending on where you're located, the heat gets unbearable. And then if you're in the northern portion of the state, you figure into that 103 being the winter months. Here in Hinesville, it doesn't necessarily get as cold. Like I said in a previous video, our cold really starts in about January. But this heat, like right now, I think a day or two ago we registered in at about 100 degrees. The heat index was about I believe about 110, something like that, 112, or whatever the case may be. So definitely the summer months are when we use the most electricity, running our AC units and whatnot. And if you have a home that's 2-story and you have 2 units, you're really pulling some power. So the best thing you could probably think about doing on that is getting on one of those plans with your electric company, where you have like a set amount every month. I forgot what it's called, but I'll look it up and I'll put the link down in the description below so that you can get on board and check that out if that's something that you would be open to. Trying to run your AC unit in this heat, sometimes it's a point in the day where it seems like it just doesn't work. It's so hot. It's like a constant, it's a battle. And sometimes your AC unit loses, which pulls power, and it causes it to work out. It pulls more power and causes it to work out. It pulls more power and causes it to work harder, which of course drives up your cost. The last thing I want to talk about is transportation. The average cost for gasoline right now here in Hinesville is about the average cost of gasoline right now is about $3. And if you're a part of the reward program, I know I am at the local Parkers here, that gives me about a price of about $2.94 for gas. Being that everything's kind of close and not too spread out, it kind of balances itself out. For Georgia, the average is about 105.1, and here in Hinesville we fall well short below the national average of 100 with 81.5. As I was saying, the transportation situation here, with everything being spread out the way it is, yes, you will definitely need a vehicle. But even though it's spread out, it's still, kind of close, or whatever the case may be. Unless your commute is from from Fort Stewart to Little Wissy, then It's a little more spread out. It's a little more of a distance, but it's still not that far. Fort Stewart is only about maybe 20 minutes at the most without traffic, if that, from Fort Stewart. Again, you can look on the map and see where everything is located, where everything is, how everything is spread out and whatnot from the Hinesville area. We do have public transportation. It's our local bus system. I'll be doing a video on that coming up to kind of give you an idea of, you know, how that works and whatnot. It just started about, I believe maybe 2 years ago, if I'm correct. I haven't been on the bus system yet, of course, because I have a car, but I will be doing a video on that to show you guys, for those who will be moving to the area that maybe don't have a license or whatever, or don't have a vehicle as of the time that they arrive or whatnot, and still need a means to get around. That generally sums up the cost of living here in Hinesville. As you can see, it's not really expensive at all. It may seem like that in certain aspects because of what's been going on with the pandemic or whatever the case may be. But that's in anybody's general area. Prices have went up, rents went up, the sale of buying, the price of buying and building homes have went up drastically, especially on new constructions or whatever the case may be, because of the price on lumber. But that's not really something that we can control. With that being said, it won't remain like that forever. You just have to, weather the storm and get through this situation. And on the other side, I'm pretty sure that there'll be some good things in store for the economy, for you as a whole. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. If I provided any value for you, again, make sure you go ahead and click that like button. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I drop a video. And right now you're going to see a couple videos popping up. Go ahead and take a look at those. And until the next one, take it easy.